Today we're going to learn about the brain. I should say about what things have been done with the brain.
The seeds of the singularity can be traced back to earlier events and to a bull ring in a remote corner of Spain. In 1964, an experiment took place that would awaken the world to the power that science was gaining over the mind. The man behind this experiment was pioneering neuroscientist José Delgado.
Many years ago, we were investigating the areas of the brain, and then a friend of us asked if we could or we could not inhibit the ferocity of the animal who has been bred, genetically bred, for centuries for aggressive behavior, the brave bull.
Delgado took up the challenge. In an act of scientific wizardry, he would attempt to control the very nature of a fighting bull.
And the bull was just charging against anybody who could be in the bull ring.
But in the background, Dr. Delgado with a radio transmitter. But on signal, he stops.
And then the bull stopped charging, stopped his aggressive behavior, and we could approach the animal without any risk or danger.
Delgado's command over the bull was no magic. It was the ultimate application of years of work to unlock the mysterious electrical signals of the brain. By placing electrodes directly into areas of the bull's brain responsible for aggression and movement, Delgado could transmit radio signals that would, in theory, tame the bull.
Then I thought, well, I know a little about bullfighting, so I'm going to test this by myself.
Now Professor Delgado faces the bull himself. Again, the animal turns on command. Repeatedly, the bull was tamed by radio signals beamed to the electrodes in his brain.
Were you sure that that bull was going to stop as it approached you when you pushed the right button?
Scientists always should have faith in science. I had faith in science. The animal stopped.
The bull was in very good health, and I was in a very good health also, so no problem.
Delgado was more than a showman. He was attempting to understand the mechanics of our own minds. It was a quest that would lead to ever more extraordinary experiments.
So we heard the thing on the bull, right? So we know there ain't no BS going on. Now, someone else stated this before a while back too, and it was on a lower voltage. It was like, don't quote me, it was like, I want to say 3.3 millivolts. I'd have to look it up, but we're going to go on. So you have that. MIT just released a study that they can manipulate DNA with radio frequency. And Barrie Trower here works for free. He's a microwave expert, but this is on cell phones. And then a question would be, what is the relationship between the school shootings and Wi-Fi?
it's been shown that a child using a cell phone, just an ordinary school child, if the child uses the phone for just 2 minutes, the brain waves can take up to 2 hours to return to normal. 2 hours. And that's been published. Now, in those 2 hours, the child's brain is not acting as it should, and it could demonstrate itself in a number of ways. For instance, if the child were in school and made a quick call from the playground, it could be lack of concentration, hyperactivity, bad behavior. It could be anything like that. And that would slowly ease off over 2 hours. Now that's just from 2 minutes. Now, if a child makes a phone call every couple of hours, the brain is going to be entrained permanently. And it's already been published by the industry that a child using microwaves just before bed will have his or her sleep totally disrupted by entrainment. I cited, I think, 200 schools in Europe where a transmitter had been put in or near the playground where they had leukemia clusters. Some of our own MPs here have stood up in Parliament to say that they have 11 children under the age of 11 with leukemia around a transmitter, or 18 children. I mean, it's so. I mean, cancers are reaching epidemic proportions.
Okay, so you heard the part where they're losing sleep. Well, that's where melatonin is produced, is when you're at sleep. And now, for a video, this is going to be on our tap water. Listen carefully. Tap water. Tap water that is used in making of products, making of your coffee, making of the pancake that you get at your restaurant, making in all the foods that we eat on a daily basis. The instant gravy that's made down at the restaurant, the instant pancake mix that's made down there, the coffee that's made at the gas station, your packaged goods. Take a listen, please. Trying to show it to you.
The United States does not keep active records of how many people get sick from our water supply every year. There are estimates that from 500,000 to 7 million people get sick per year from drinking tap water.
One of the problems is that we have lots of bugs in the system, viruses, pathogens, bacteria. A lot of those things that you think of as stomach viruses or flus, about 40% of those come from your drinking water.
We are not removing things like industrial chemicals, rocket fuel, pesticides, certain pharmaceuticals, drugs that were discharged either by big animal factories or by sewage treatment plants. A lot of people think they don't have to worry about their water supply because they go out and buy bottled water. Well, we have news for them. In fact, a lot of your exposure to many of the chemicals comes from the simple act of showering in them.
Okay, we're going to leave it right there. You heard the man's statement, right? The simple act of showering. Not to mention a child bathing in it, elderly people bathing in it, people making your food with it, your beer, your soda, your pancake. I don't know, it should click immediately. Like, I don't want money. I want to build a garden and have available distilled water there and focus on something that makes more sense. Because take a listen on how many are in there. This doesn't click with me at all.
So some of these more volatile pollutants come in through your skin.
just heard what he said. I'm going to say all those three states. We're going to look at this. Right, he just stated that they come through the skin. Doesn't matter if you drink bottled water or not, they come through the skin. Okay, we heard that. Now, let's see what we see. We see products being made with the same water. Now, we heard what he just said. Not to scare you, been doing it for a while. Hey, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger, right? Amen. But do you think we should quit? Well, let's just see on where this all goes. The documentary is called Flow for the Love of Water. This is something that we can test. When you do apply current to tap water, it turns green sludgy color. We do have body damage running through us. You can do a video search on that. I do have one on there. It's about 15 volts on the second floor. The higher you go up, the higher it goes up. On with this one.
There are 116,000 human-made chemicals. We have no idea how they interact. We are becoming experiments for these synthetic chemicals. And when the liver takes these chemicals out of our bodies, what happens? They get flushed down the toilet. And then they go into the aquifer. And then they go into our rivers and streams. We take the water from the rivers and streams and we put it into our public water supply systems, and we're drinking it again.
All those pharmaceuticals, all those cosmetics, all the stuff that's in there, you know what? It's changing the chemistry in our bodies, and it's hurting us.
Okay, we just heard that. So why would you use that in the products that you make? Like beer, soda, the pancake at the restaurant, your coffee at the restaurant, coffee at the gas station, so on and so forth. Yeah, I mean, why would you want to use it at the restaurant? Your soda, your beer, your coffee, have your baby grow in it, you know, just the little things. I mean, I know distilled water's got to be pretty expensive and all, but I'm being sarcastic. I'm trying to keep you in a happy state because this is just wow. I'll show you wow in a second. Especially when you can buy distilled water, it's 0 parts. They make sure that it's 0 parts like the fresh.
Nobody needs to be partisan about this issue. We need fixes, we need remedies, we need support. And
how much influence on government legislators does the food industry have?
Well, the food industry is an enormous business in the United States. Therefore, it employs very expensive and well-paid lobbyists. And those lobbyists are in Washington for 2 purposes. Number 1, to make sure that no government agency ever says, eat less of the company's products. Number 2, that the government never passes legislation that is unfavorable. And I guess the third one is to encourage the government to pass favorable legislation.
The GMA is one of those lobbies.
You're going to see us do what we do best, and that is market appropriately, finance education programs, as we're doing in great abundance, getting good information out to parents so we can solve the problem. That's what we do in the food industry. We think that is a responsible, important role to play. We are not police, we are not regulators. We provide a safe, affordable abundance of food like the world has never seen.
The food industry and the broadcasters are extremely powerful lobbies, and they outgun us.
The industry has stepped up to the plate. We're going to do more. We want to do more. We recognize we have a role to play. We're part of the solution. We're part of the problem. And we are also a part of the solution.
Did everyone hear what he just said? We're part of the problem. The lobbyists for Coke, Heinz, Smucker's, Kellogg's, Nestle, Kraft, Hershey, Sara Lee, Cadbury, General Mills, Seagram, Welch's, Wise, Anheuser-Busch, Birds Eye, Lance, Campbell's, Carvel, Mars, Ocean Spray, Hormel, Dannon, and Pepsi said we're part of the problem. I think we're making some headway.
I heard that. I'm going to back this up now. Are your products made with tap water?
Well, we have news for them. In fact, a a lot of your exposure to many of the chemicals comes from the simple act of showering in them. So some of these more volatile pollutants come in through your skin.
So if it's coming through your skin, what about you eating it daily, everywhere you go? It's sprayed on your fruits and vegetables at your store. And he did say that there's viruses in there. They're neither dead or alive. They're activated by frequencies too. Gravediggers know this. The microwave expert that explains this in great detail is named Barrie Trower. Let's see what Barrie has to say. Barrie, why you bugging?
It is now possible to genetically change bacteriums and virus, genetically change them. What has been developed now is if bacterium, they can lay, and yeasts, they can lay in the soil for hundreds of years in a dormant stage. And it's known by grave diggers or people who dig up old graves that it's possible when light comes on the bacterium to regenerate the bubonic plague.
Say what? Okay, not to freak you out, but here's my thought on this. Alright, so you got that tap water. We heard how many things were all in that, right? So you go to your supermarket, that little sprayer on there sprays on your fruits and vegetables. You got a fluorescent tube that's light hitting it depending on what's going on at the time, plus you got cell phones walking by it. Kind of get my idea. I'll let him finish. Oh, let's do a commercial. If I interest you at all, can you give me a tip? Cause I'll be poor, but rich in spirit. Alright, here we go.
That's been laying in the ground for several hundred years. It only wants that particular frequency and bang, it's active again. You don't need more than 2 brain cells to work out where you go from here. Viruses are neither dead nor alive. They inhabit hosts. If I put a virus inside a dormant bacteria that I know I can spring to life, I go to Norway on a holiday, or Denmark, or Sweden. I just spread the virus around the forests with the dormant bacteria, and I come back. And I can wait, if I like, 100 years, 200 years, or 2 hours. Makes no difference to me. And then all I have to do with HAARP or a similar device is put the frequency, the microwave frequency, off the ionosphere down onto Norway. Whenever I feel like it, the virus will spring to life because their host has sprung to life. This is where we are. So countries can now...
Okay, I'm going to try making it quick. We heard that, so how about this one? You get your fruits and vegetables, go to the store, go click, tells you who you are, then your scanner, scan, scan, scan. Possibility, according to what he says. That's laser, that is frequency. I'm trying to make this short because I'm going to run out. I want to show you water. Hope you better play it. This is on tap water. Why would you want to use this in your food products? If I had that tester, I could do more of it, but it's an electrolyzer test. You put current through it, and bam, it turns green. Sorry to make this one quick, because I don't want to run out of time on this. I want you to get this, all this in there, and then there's one more if I can get it in there. I'm going to go back to the BBC.
Another scientist was beginning his own journey.
You can check out what they did with this poor creature here. I'll get it up there while I'm trying to find this other one.
He needs to get some walking. He needs to lose some weight. Hey, you need to be doing aerobics, guy.
By mastering the mind of a rat, Chapin believes he is taking a small step towards cracking the enormous challenge ahead.
The brain is the most important thing we have, and it's the least understood thing that we have. It's going to reveal itself slowly in a myriad of different ways, just as this is revealing something about it.
Okay, that was a remote control rat. But anyways, this is liver flush, but remember that green color of that water? Check out what a liver flush looks like.
Of the second liver flush I've done, the first liver flush that I'm referring to in this 30-day window.
Okay, you've seen that green stuff. Now you've seen the water. You've seen that electrolyzer in there. Now here's my thing on it. Now you're seeing the water. You're going to say, well, I don't have current running through me. But check this out, because everybody says, I wear rubber-soled shoes. I'm grounded.
I'm at the front of my house, and I'm standing under power lines. So is it possible for these power lines to, through induction, send electricity into my body? We're going to find out in a moment. So I've got my multimeter, and I hold the end of it, and I'm at like 0.6. So my body has now got, instead of being 0.006, we're at 0.6. So I've got that's a lot more electricity coming into my body simply by standing under these power lines. So if we look up at the power lines, we're going to see there's a transformer box. My voltage is just standing on the floor in the bedroom. It's a massive 15 volts. This is the highest reading that I've had.
And I said, is that the reason why babies cry?
Anywhere. I'm at 15 volts, standing on the bedroom floor.
Now, I want you to get scared. 3 states, Blake, Bright, and Stared. Now, just check me out though. You have all that water in there. You're sitting in a classroom. All these lights up above you. I don't know exactly how many feet from your head, but I'm not crazy. So
these tubes are not plugged in to any power source, but they still light up. It's electricity's invisible effect, an effect not just confined to the wires it flows through. In the middle of the 19th century, a great theory was proposed to explain how this could be. The theory says that surrounding any electric charge, and there's a lot of electricity flowing above my head, is a force field. These fluorescent tubes are lit purely because they're under the influence of the force field from the power cables above.